It's time to take the throne as we have a look at the new Predator Clan Leader throne from the folks over at NECA Toys. Add to your Predator collection or build amazing scenes with this new Diorama element. Only the most powerful and respected member of the clan can be seated upon this throne, which is crafted from the bones of the most worthy opponents. It measures over 14 inches tall and is cast in resin with some plastic elements, such as 6 alien queen fins on the back of the throne that can be angled to your liking. Will fit most figures 7 to 9 inches in height. Now, I've had this particular throne for a while. I've just never got around to reviewing it until now, so my apologies for the delay in getting this video done. Let's figure out how tall the throne stands. This is going to be a little bit harder because I have to go really far back to reach everything. If I put it to about, I think it's about there. About there. There we go. Okay. Let's start backwards. It's 34.7 centimeters. That's not really technically backwards, but I always usually do inches to centimeters. So it's 34.7 centimeters in height. Let's click the magic button to tell us exactly how many inches. You're looking at 13.6 inches. The box touts it at being 14 inches in height. Just by the nature of how far I had to measure it back, it actually could be closer to 14 inches. About 14 inches, give or take. The throne holds both 7 and 9 inch tall figures. I just so happen to have a classic Predator. I think this one was actually from the 30th anniversary line. Looking at this, and actually I think one of the reasons why I had held off was I thought I had a clan leader kicking around. Then I'm kind of going back and looking at my previous videos, so I don't actually have one to show. I know, blasphemy, but I'm just going to use this existing Predator figure just to show you how it holds or how it sits on the throne. I'm going to go ahead and take the plasma caster off just so it's not in the way of everything. Going to adjust the legs, and we're going to also bend the knees. There we go. And we are going to get it onto the throne. Now the problem is with some of these Predator figures, there we go. The legs are so stiff and difficult to kind of move. You never really have them in sitting positions, so I just want to kind of put him on top of the throne like so. There we go. And you can see there is the Predator. Actually, let me just hold it up so you guys can actually see. There is the Predator in place there. I could probably have bent the legs just a little bit more, but just all very casual. Let me just tuck, there we go, tuck the foot in. Just to show you it does fit in place. The clan leader would be a little bit taller than the classic Predator here, but I just want to show you how it looks in the throne itself. Really actually does showcase it well. I can't imagine this particular Predator ever inheriting the throne, but just to show you what it looks like. It occurs to me as well, I should probably invest in getting a scale. This is extremely heavy, primarily because most, if not all, the throne is made of resin. That could also be... I could also best describe that as something that would be extremely fragile as well. My biggest concern with this particular piece is this is something that you would not want to drop because the end fins of the queen crest here, these would be the things that would break probably first and foremost if you ever dropped it. But it's extremely heavy. A little bit of assembly is required. Let's flip it around here. On the back, is that you have all these little these fins from the alien queen. They all plug into place. Let me just take one out so I can show you. There we go. Funny enough, they actually fit inside the sockets of human skulls. You could ideally put it in either one of them. I just put in the hole that's facing outer. And they are of 3 different lengths. Let me just go ahead. That one already popped out. I'm going to take these ones out just to show you. Put that down right there. It is of 3 different lengths. There we go. So it's entirely up to you how you want to do it. I actually did it so that the longest one was at the bottom, and then of course the next longest one was in the middle, and well, you know how that works. I kind of did it so it fanned this way. If you wanted to, ideally, you could actually have it fanning the opposite way with the longest on the top portion. And let me just go ahead and show you once again how that plugs into place. So see the little socket areas of the eyes? There's one there, and this one happens to have the two. I'm just taking the ball joint and I'm just wiggling it and plugging it into the top there. Now, unfortunately, I find that these fins don't stay well in place. I don't know if it's just simply the way that the socket is made, but I find I can't get the ball joint in there, or at least in there completely. As soon as I plug it into place, any little moving, as these are things that you can independently move on their own, it's the only thing really that can move on its own on the throne. But any little bit of moving I find is actually very slowly taking the socket and popping the ball joint out. So it may be something that once you've got it plugged completely in place, you probably don't want to be moving it around too much, because that is going to loosen and it's just going to ultimately pop it back out. Like I said though, these are the only things that are plastic on the throne. The rest of the throne itself is all the resin material. I just want to show you the individual fin here. Beautiful, beautiful looking piece. In fact, actually one of the things two things I really like about the throne, obviously, is the sculpt, but the paint is done just as well, because if not for a good paint, really you would get a lot of these details lost on it. In looking at the individual fin though, you can see how it's got the darker, almost like it's almost like a very dark brown, and it transitions very slowly up to the lighter crest portion of the fin. The fin is about, I would say, the color of like a cream, like a creamy beige, which is really the primary color that the entire base, the entire throne is used. And then a lot, again, this dark brown really just pops some of those individual details. So let's go ahead and pop those back into place. Just going to pop that one in. There we go. The middle one I find is the hardest to get actually into place, and then we'll go ahead and pop the last one in. There we go. There's really a lot to admire here. So really on the front, here is the queen crest, the actual part up the top of her head here. And then it comes down, and then you've got a secondary skull, like right in the seat portion here. You have some skulls on the front, different animals, different creatures, and some human skulls there as well. You could only imagine what some of these skulls would actually be on if the living creature was present in front of us here. Of course, we know what humans look like. There's some human skulls there on the front, 3 of them on either side. These giant creatures, though, and this one is the one that has me the most curious. It almost looks like something you would see from Star Wars. Giant tusks on the front, and a lower jaw portion there down below as well. Some great paint actually in here as well. Oh, we also, of course, can't forget the xenomorph skulls. Those are also on the side. Some xenomorphs down on the sides here as well. And then we spin it around. So on the back of the queen crest is what looks to be the tail of the queen. A very long tail that actually goes almost further past the point of the throne. Works its way all the way up to the top and points off at the top there as well. It complements nicely the extension that's added to the top portion of her crown. I also like that this part here is all shinier. The majority of it does have a slight slick coat to it, but right here is where the light bounces off of it the most, and it really does look nice, like all those individual little platelets here that make up the queen's head dress, or the crown portion of the queen's head. Even the underside of the throne is actually sculpted as well. I mean, it's a testament to NECA, the fact that they would go and do this much detail, especially to the under portion of the throne. The throne looks just as much detailed here as it does on the front. Here they could simply just have smoothed it and just done a flat surface to it, but it actually does look like this would have been carved away bone. I don't know if all of this, like what would be the starting point if this was one creature, and then they simply have added additional skulls to it. Maybe the underside or the majority of the throne is this creature right here, this unknown creature right sitting at the front here. Again, the paint is glorious on this. Primarily, like I said, mostly a cream color. It's really all this dark color that is the all-star here in this release. It's because of that that you see all these individual skulls. If not for that, you wouldn't see a separation from the top of the xenomorph head to like the portion here in which you've got like a little, almost like a little fang. All these recessed areas, all these little scales have been given a very generous amount of this dark brown color. And that is how it aids to help show all these extra little features to it. Especially on the back. The back looks like primarily like it's nothing but spinal cords. Of course, you've got the giant queen tail there. But it looks like the back is primarily spinal cords working its way up. And you got the human skulls there on the back as well. And again, the little recessed areas, the cavity area of the queen's headdress. Look at all this fantastic brown that they've added to the sides here. In fact, part of me actually feels bad that I'm looking at this right now without a clan leader. I mean, a fitful throne, fit for a king. I really should have had like a clan leader sitting on the front here. Unfortunately, at the time, like looking at this review, I could have just left the review still unlooked at, the throne unlooked at, but I just couldn't resist. Such a beautiful piece. I mean, really, it's the sort of release from NECA that, sure, of course, it looks good to take an existing Predator figure. Let's, again, take the classic Predator and put him right in the middle there. It looks good to have, obviously, a Predator sitting inside the throne, but the throne is just so good on its own. I'd almost be even inclined just to display it on the shelf like this. There's a lot of detail. There's a lot to gander. Even, again, the seat portion, the one area in which the Predator is going to inhabit, you really don't even want to put anything there because the sculpt is that good. The NECA Toys Predator Clan Leader Throne is an absolute art piece. This is the kind of thing that you really want to showcase in your collection up front in front of everything else. I would never want to really relegate this to the very back of a display with having Predators standing in front of it because the piece is that good. As I even said over the course of this review, this is the kind of showpiece that I wouldn't even almost want to put a Predator sitting inside of it because I feel like it robs it in some strange way. It's robbing it from the sculpt that they put in, the care that they put into it. Part of me also likes the fact that it's made out of resin. It kind of adds to the fact that this is more an art piece than it is a quote-unquote action figure accessory. Sure, of course, they could have also molded this thing in plastic, but by adding the weight of a resin to it, unfortunately, the downside to it is it makes it a little bit more fragile, but the upside to it, it definitely feels like a weighted statue instead of an accessory piece. If you guys are interested in picking this one up for yourself, it should be available now at your local comic book stores and retail stores as well. Today, like I said, we were having a look at the NECA Toys Predator Clan Leader Throne. Minus a clan leader. My fault. If you guys haven't had a chance to hit that little subscribe button down below, what are you waiting for? Hit the little subscribe button down below. I always say it's on the right side. It's actually closer to the left side of the screen. And also, if you get a chance, swing by the home page, scroll down the section of videos, and see if there's anything you may have missed along the way. There is a very good possibility by the sheer level of content that I'm posting on a regular basis that you may have missed out on something along the way, and you'll find it all in the videos section. You're going to have some more NECA goodies coming your way, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. See you next time.